Hello students, welcome to the lecture on the research process, and after the lecture we will be able to learn the following objectives. Describe the meaning of research, explain the research process, define research problem, discuss formulating hypothesis, explain the language of research, understand research proposal writing. Let's start with a brief introduction to the research process. The research process is a scientific process of inquiry and/or experimentation that involves purposeful, systematic, and rigorous collection of data. Analysis and interpretation of the data are then made in order to gain new knowledge or add to existing knowledge. Research has the ultimate of developing an organized body of scientific knowledge. Research is a systematic, controlled, empirical, and critical investigation of hypothetical propositions about the presumed relations about natural phenomena. Let's now discuss the meaning of research. Research is an academic activity, and as such the term should be used in a technical sense. According to Clifford Woody, research comprises defining and redefining problems, formulating hypotheses or suggested solutions, collecting, organizing, and evaluating data, making deductions and reaching conclusions, and at last carefully testing the conclusions to determine whether they fit the formulating hypothesis. The types of research. There are various types of research: descriptive versus analytical. Descriptive research includes surveys and fact-finding inquiries of different kinds. The major purpose of descriptive research is description of the state of affairs as it exists at present. In analytical research, on the other hand, the researcher has to use facts or information already available and analyze these to make a critical evaluation of the material. Applied versus fundamental. Research can either be applied or action research or fundamental to basic or pure research. Applied research aims at finding a solution for an immediate problem facing a society or an industrial business organization, whereas fundamental research is mainly concerned with generalizations and with the formulation of a theory. Quantitative versus qualitative. Quantitative research is based on the measurement of quantity or the amount. It is applicable to phenomena that can be expressed in terms of quantity. Qualitative research, on the other hand, is concerned with qualitative phenomena, that is, phenomena relating to or involving quality or kind. Conceptual versus empirical. Conceptual research is that related to some abstract ideas or theory. It is generally used by philosophers and thinkers to develop new concepts or to reinterpret existing ones. On the other hand, empirical research relies on experience or observation alone, often without due regard for system and theory. Some other types of research. All other types of research are variations of one or more of the above stated approaches based on either the purpose of the research or the time required to accomplish the research, on the environment in which the research is done, or it is on the basis of some other similar factor. Research process. Scientific research involves a systematic process that focuses on being objective and gathering a multitude of information for analysis so that the researcher can come to a conclusion. 8 steps of the research process as they apply to conducting a study. Step 1 is to identify the problem. The first step in the process is to identify a problem or develop a research question. The research problem may be something the agency identifies as a problem, some knowledge or information that is needed by the agency, or the desire to identify a recreation trend nationally. Step 2 is to review the literature. Now that the problem has been identified, the researcher must learn more about the topic under investigation. To do this, the researcher must review the literature related to the research problem. This step provides foundational knowledge about the problem area. Step 3 is to clarify the problem. Many times the initial problem identified in the first step of the process is too large or broad in scope. In step 3 of the process, the researcher clarifies the problem and narrows the scope of the study. This can only be done after the literature has been reviewed. Step 4 is to clearly define the terms and concepts. Terms and concepts are words or phrases used in the purpose statement of the study or the description of the study. These items need to be specifically defined as they apply to the study. Step 5 is to define the population. In research terms, the group to involve in the study is always called the population. Defining the population assists the researcher in several ways. First, it narrows the scope of the study from a very large population to one that is manageable. Second, the population identifies the group that the researcher's efforts will be focused on within the study. Step 6. Develop the instrumentation plan. The plan for the study is referred to as the instrumentation plan. The instrumentation plan serves as the roadmap for the entire study, specifying who will participate in the study, how, when and where data will be collected, and the content of the program. Step 7 is to collect data. Once the instrumentation plan is completed, the actual study begins with the collection of data. The collection of data is a critical step in providing the information that is needed to answer the research question. Step 8 is to analyze the data. The researcher finally has data to analyze so that the research question can be answered. In the instrumentation plan, the researcher specified how the data will be analyzed. The researcher now analyzes the data according to the plan. Let's now discuss about research problem. A research problem is a statement about an area of concern, a condition to be improved, a difficulty to be eliminated, or a troubling question that exists in scholarly literature, in theory or in practice, that points to the need for meaningful understanding and deliberate investigation. Selection. A detailed list of criteria for selection of the problem follows. Novelty and avoidance of unnecessary duplication, importance for the field represented, interest and intellectual curiosity, training and personal qualifications, availability of data and method, special equipment and working conditions, sponsorship and administrative cooperation, cost and returns, hazards and penalties, time factor. Now we shall talk about the goal of research. There are two basic purposes for research: to learn something or to gather evidence. The first, to learn something, is for own benefit. Classification of research. Research can be differentiated into 5 categories. Historical research. Historical research involves understanding, studying, and explaining the past events. Its purpose is to arrive at some conclusions concerning the past occurrences that may help to anticipate or explain the present or future events. Descriptive research. It often involves collecting information through data review, surveys, interviews, or observation. Correlational research. Correlational research attempts to determine how related two or more variables are. This degree of relation is expressed as a correlation coefficient. Casual comparative research. Casual comparative research attempts to identify a cause-effect relationship between two or more groups. Casual comparative studies involve comparison in contrast to correlation research, which looks at relationship. Experimental research. Experimental research is guided by hypotheses or several hypotheses that states an expected relationship between two or more variables. An experiment is conducted to support or disconfirm this experimental hypothesis. The necessity